Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be back. We're going to go on to Parsha's Tetze. Parsha Tetze starts off, you're going to go out to war, and you'll see the women that were left over there after war, and they'll be taken by you, and all the rules about that. Svarim go into this concept that all these Parshas and Elul right before we get to Rosh Hashanah are all about learning how to deal with our Yetzer Hara. Even Rashi explains this, even the Gemara explains this. We're talking about going out to war, Mechemes Reshus, a Milchama, that we go out and say, I need to fight this, not because it's a must, but because in order for me to become better, I have to do this. This is Mechemes Reshus, and we go out and we say, I'm going to add things onto myself. I'm going to add more borders around me, so that way I could be a better person. And as we continue on in the Parsha, there's an interesting pasuk, I think it's pasuk Ches, that says, if you're going to build a new house, you should put a gate, you should put a fence around your rooftop. For the person, you don't want a person to fall off it. So the taich of ki yipol hanoifel mimenu is technically, in a technical sense, ki yipol, because he will fall, hanoifel, the fallen person, mimenu. And there's another pasuk in the Torah where it's, how is it called? Not mois yumas, but rather it's, when it talks about a dead person, it's like he's already dead. This person is supposed to be falling either way. The question is, will he fall off of your roof or will he not? Will he be able to stand on the top of your rooftop, and even with the slightest wind, will he fall over? And that's the point of it. Kipul and Neufel. He is already destined to fall. The question is, will it come through you? So we know that Hashem runs this world with the concept of Megalgal and Schus al Yedai Zakai, V'choiv al Yedei Chayev. He makes things happen, good things happen through the innocent, and he makes bad things happen through the guilty. And when we look at this concept, first we have to take a step back and understand that the world works with cause and effect. And I believe we've already spoken about cause and effect in previous videos, but cause and effect is that Hashem pushed down the first domino in Bereshis and says the world should start, and knock down the first domino, and because of that first domino, everything else is falling. It's just continuously falling, and that's a machadash b'tuvay b'chol yom tamed ma'asav Bereshis. The ma'asav Bereshis are renewing itself every single day. The kinetic energy of that first domino just continues flowing. And cause and effect would mean that when my parents met, no matter how that came about, and then all the decisions they made along their life, and then they finally had me and I was born, all of that is one big cause and effect. And if you go back even further, what about my great-great-grandparents? And what about the wars that happened that shifted the geographical locations of certain people, which made that certain shidduchim should happen? So now we are all here today because of all of those things that occurred in history. So we see how cause and effect has a much bigger picture of a whole bunch of things have to happen for this specific time to come at this exact moment, and for me to leave my house, and for that person to leave his house 10 minutes late, so that we should bump in and talk. You know, Hashem works in such ways. So if something bad is supposed to happen in this world, who is going to go and fulfill it? Because it's a cause and effect. Somebody's going to come up with this idea. Somebody's going to either not go and build that fence around his rooftop, or somebody's just, or either he's not going to do it because he knows not to do it, because he doesn't know to do it, and either he's not going to do it because he's lazy. But whatever reason, it's not going to end up happening by him. And the question is, why should a person choose not to safeguard his rooftop? And you would say that's a dumb thing to do. Like, you have a rooftop, you know people are going to be there, guard it, put a fence around it. But there's this lack of energy throughout this person's life either way, and this person finds himself going into the side of guilty. And what ends up happening is he ends up being the cause to an even greater effect, that somebody could fall off and die. Yes, that person that fell off and died, he deserves that death. That's supposed to happen to him, and we don't ask questions, and this is the plan of Hashem. But why through me? Why is my name forever going to be stamped as the reason for this big happening? And so when we look at ourselves, we look at our lives, do we have the guardrails set up? Do we have ourselves in a good position in life to say that we are not on the side of guilty? So there's a Gemara on Masechtas Kedushin, I think it's Daf Mem Amud Beis, that says that a person should look at the world Ke'ilu, it's mechza al mechza shakel, that it's perfectly balanced, half zechusim and half chiyuvim, like mitzvahs and averas, half and half. And with my one mitzvah, I could go and tilt it to the right, and with my one avera, I could tilt it to the left. You should always look chetzia zakai, chetzia chayev. So we could compare this megalgalin schus al yedei zakai, which is schus, v'choyev al yedei chayev, which is chayev, right? So which side are we on? And the Gemara tells us we should always look at ourselves as just in the middle. And with one good deed, we go and we make the world better. And with one bad deed, we could go and destroy the entire world. We take it way down to the left. So when we go out into the world and we have to build ourselves fences to our rooftops, we want to make sure that when we get to our addictions, or when the temptations get too hard, or when the sadness gets too tough, we don't just get pushed over the edge because of this little wind. We have to know to go and do little mitzvahs. Go and do that one little mitzvah that's going to weigh down to the right. Go and build that little fence. Go and make that siyag, that geder in your life, that boundary, that guardian that's going to keep you from falling over. Put yourself a little bit more inland. Don't put yourself at the edge of the cliff so any slippery rock could go and push you over. That's what we learn over here. This is a voluntary war, because technically you could stand at the edge of the cliff and stay alive for your entire life, but that requires complete vigilance, complete focus, and one wrong move is you're over. So not living on the line, it's fun. It might be thrilling, but it's not the tachlis. It's not the purpose of man to stand at the edge and hope not to fall. Yeah, if you have to go to the edge to help other people up, go ahead. You do that, because that's your calling, and that's what you're supposed to be doing. But to be living there and just hanging out there and having your beers over there, that's not a recipe for a good outcome. So when we look at our lives, we have to implement certain mitzvahs that are going to put us into the side of zakai. When we put up that gate, guess what? A person will not fall down. And a person will have to fall down by somebody else, because I am a zakai, and by whomever this person ended up falling off the rooftop, that person is a chayev, and he should do tshuva. He should see, wait a second, it could have been me who died. I should go and put up a fence. I should go and take care of my life and apply this metaphor of the fence on the rooftop to everything else in my life. Where else do I have the ability to make people fall, or me myself fall? Where can I go and apply these little things? All I got to do is just put up a fence, put up a sign, put up a little wire that keeps people from falling, and keeps myself from falling. Do this little thing, and you will go into the side of zakai. We see the Gemara on Masechtas Makkos, also Masechtas Makkos 10b. The Gemara says about a person who killed intently, b'mezid, and a person who killed by mistake, b'shoigeg. And the person who killed intently, nobody saw him kill. He just did it and he walked away. So technically this guy deserves to be killed for his actions. And this person who killed by mistake, nobody saw him either. If people would have seen, he would have to go to Arei Miklat, to Galus. But since nobody saw, he's free to go. So what does Hashem do? He puts them both into this one hotel. And what ends up happening, there's this light bulb that goes out. So these two murderers, which nobody knows about, they get together, and the guy who killed intently, he stands in the bottom of the ladder, and the guy who killed by mistake goes up the ladder to change his light bulb, and then he falls off the ladder, kills the guy that's on the ground because he deserves death, and now, since people watched him killing that person, he has to go to Arei Miklat. So we see how the cause and effect of the world, Hashem has an exact plan, and everything gets to how it's supposed to get to at the end. But it's up to us to keep ourselves in places and be busy with things that are not going to harm anybody else, things that are not going to harm ourselves, things that are going to keep us living properly, healthy, fulfilling, with purpose, with content, we should be happy and relaxed. That's what we want. And when we put ourselves into these boundaries, yes, it's a little restrictive. We feel, oh, I just put a restriction, but guess what? You just saved your life. As they say on the highways, you buckle up. You could save, you could save your life just by doing this one little thing, buckling up. Yes, it's a restriction, but it's keeping you alive. Those are the things we should be implementing in our life. Those are the things that we should be focusing on. That they'll be our guide, and they'll be there to protect us all throughout. So put these little protections onto you. Don't look at them as restrictions, because they aren't. They're here for your good. And if you look into the Torah tells us a whole bunch of things that we shouldn't do. There are more things that we shouldn't do than what we should. And we tend to look at these things that we shouldn't do as these big black monsters. But guess what? The mitzvahs that we should do, they are big white angels. And when we tend to think of the mitzvahs as this little guy showing up and he's just saying something nice about you, and these averos are these big giants coming and saying this guy did that. And no, it's the mitzvahs are powerful as well. And when we learn to have that perfect balance in our life, where we are zakai and chayev, we don't boast about ourselves, and we don't beat ourselves up. We found ourselves in the middle, and we say each little mitzvah that I'm going to do is going to tip the scales and put me in the right side. And guess what? I don't want to end up tipping the scales to the left, so I'm going to put little protective measures into my life. I'm going to build that gate. I'm going to put myself further away from places that I know that I have a weakness to, and I'm going to fill up my schedule with things. And so we will have that relax, that calmness, and the life we all wish for. All right, thank you so much. Have a wonderful Shabbos. I'll see you next week, and take care of yourself. Be well. Check out my books on Amazon, Who Am I? Tehillim Legacy Journal. If you want any other Hebrew books, poetry on all of Torah, if you want anything else that I've written, things that I've written when I was younger, please reach out to me, lemmerhypno@gmail.com. If you are interested in hypnotherapy, reach out. And watch all the rest of the videos. Subscribe, follow, share, and hopefully this elevates your mind. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Shabbos.